So today we are talking about my biggest mistakes as an entrepreneur so far. Anyways, we're going to get started here. We're just going to jump right into this one here. So my number one biggest mistake is probably when I started out, this was my biggest problem, was that things needed to be perfect. Things needed to be perfect. Everything needed to be perfect. I wasn't willing to put things out into the world, any content, whether it's YouTube stuff, whether it's actual products, whether it's affiliate stuff, whether it's launching a website, podcast, whether it was actually selling real estate, getting my face out there, getting my marketing strategy done, whatever it was, things needed to be perfect when I started it. This was a big problem for me at the ages like 18 to about 21, is that everything needed to be perfect. And here's one thing that I should give advice to all you guys out there is that, okay, look, things don't need to be perfect when you start. Things can be really crappy when you start. Things can be terrible when you start. But here's the deal, is that you have to start. You have to hit that launch button. You have to hit that launch button. You have to get going. You have to start something. You can't launch a website, this website. You have this great idea. I'm going to create, this awesome website. There's going to be 1 million people coming in every single day. I'm going to get all this, revenue advertising. I'm going to sell stuff through it. I'm going to sell all this clothing stuff through it and blah, 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 blah. But that can't happen unless you launch your website. Is what I'm trying to say here. So things don't need to be perfect. I mean, there's always going to be stuff you can improve on. But just know that once you have your base set up for whatever your product or whatever you're doing, whatever your business is, once you have the base set up, consider just starting and then improving as you go along. That is something that I needed to learn. So we're going to move on to number 2 here. And this is along the same lines as the perfection here, was that selling. So the biggest, what's funny is that this is a problem that when business coaches, for example, I'll give you my example. So my mom actually. So my mom, she has done some business coaching in the past, and she always says, one of the biggest problems that people have that she talks to is that, look, they have a great product or they put out a lot of content or so on, but they don't sell anything. They will not actually put out a product to sell and market it. And that is a really, really big problem when you're just starting out. When you're just starting out and starting a business, you need to sell something. You cannot just put out content for free all the time and free, and you can have this product for free and free and free. You have to sell it. You have to sell your product. Selling is one of the keys to business. It is the key to business. And so once you get that initial sales, maybe some feedback's negative, maybe it's positive, then you improve on it. You improve, and then you use that sales to market the product even more and improve the product even more, and so on. And that's how business is. You got to make your sales. You got to be comfortable with selling to start. You need money. Your business will not survive unless you can bring in some sort of revenue or some sort of income. That's the way the business world works. So we're going to move on to number 3 here, which is confidence. So this is confidence in anything. It could be yourself, could be your product, your business. For me, I think it was myself when I started out. I mean, I didn't even realize that I knew a fair bit about, business and investing. Not a fair bit. I knew way more than the average person my age. And this was when I was 19 years old. 19, 20, 21 years old. And I remember talking to my friends about investing in stocks, and I think that this was at the time where I made in that year, I made 5 to 8 grand or somewhere a year in stocks. And then I was talking to them about it, and they had no idea. They had no idea about money, about whatever dividend capital gains. They didn't know about any of this stuff. I'm like, oh, wait a second here. I should have a lot more confidence in what I actually know. See, it's because I was hanging out with mentors, 50-year-old mentors that have been in the real estate game and investing game and stock investing game for 3 decades. And so whenever I'd say something, they would essentially they've already done it 1,000 times. And that's the difference. That's the difference, is that I was hanging around with experts so long and I was picking up information through them, I didn't realize that I kind of became one for my own age group at least, and probably an expert just in general for people of all ages, for a lot of business aspects. I'm not saying I'm an expert in, obviously I haven't made a real estate investment yet. I know a lot about it. Agent, sold lots of properties, helped market lots of properties. I know tons about them, millions of dollars worth of stuff. However, I've never invested in a real estate property, so would I know more about real estate investing than like a Grant Cardone character who owns $300, $400, $500 million of property? No, there's no chance. Do I know more than Joe Schmo that's 18, 19, 20 years old drinking his face off every night for a liberal arts degree? Yeah, I know more than him for real estate investing. That's the way it is. So you got to have confidence in yourself, and you got to realize what your strengths are. You know, one of the big things is like, another thing, personal thing too, is like my girlfriend, you know, she's a great artist, illustrator, graphic designer, things along those lines. Like, she's absolutely amazing, but whenever I talk to her about it, I'm like, I always ask her or tell her, like, look, you're an expert on the subject. And she's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I'm terrible. And she's not one of those fishing for compliments persons. She actually doesn't like them whatsoever. But she just legitimately thinks, because she looks up to all these experts all the time, that she, like people that have been in the game for 30 years, just like me, that she's like, there's no way I can be an expert. And then what happened was, a similar situation to me, was that she started doing like streams and YouTube stuff, and she started doing illustrations online, and she started realizing, like, look, oh, wait a second, there are people that look up to me that think I'm the expert. And these are just junior artists. These are people that these are only people that are 5 or 6, 7 years younger than me, and they're looking up to me. Maybe I am an expert. And that's what happens. You got to have more confidence in your strengths, is what I'm trying to say here. So whatever your strength is, whether it's your product, your business, whatever your mental game, your expert field, whatever it is, you got to have more confidence in it. You got to have more confidence, because I can guarantee you that someone is going to value whatever you are giving. Someone's going to value it. So we're going to move on here to number 4. Oh yeah, 8 hours. One thing I don't like to admit to a lot of people to you guys especially, is that when I started building businesses and stuff, this was, you know, I started technically in my dorm room in school, so we're not going to count that. But in the summer of those years, when I was building businesses, I was only working 8 hours a day. I was still playing video games every day. And that is something that was a big, big mistake. A big mistake. I wish that I could have kicked my butt into gear and got going. Start pulling the 10 to 14 hour days like I do every day now. 8 hour days, I mean, if I had worked an extra 3 hours a day like I do now, 3, 4 hours a day like I do now, I would be way more ahead than I am now, potentially. So that was a big mistake by me. I do regret that. I mean, there was the nights where I'd go home and I'd play like League of Legends, and I'd go play NBA and NHL and just go play online, and I'd spend money actually on those games sometimes too. I'd spend money on those games, not realizing that, oh wait, that could go to marketing. This was years ago, right? So that is a big mistake that I had, was just not putting in enough hours into my own business. So number 5 here, I guess that this is similar. Efficiency with time specifically. So this is going back to like 19 years old, 20 years old when I started my science YouTube channel, was that I was not efficient with my work time put in to money produced out. So the example I give is that I was putting in 8 to 20 hours to build one YouTube video, which would only make me between 40 to 50, 60, 100 bucks sometimes. And that's it. Now occasionally I had 2 videos take off and make me like $1,000 bucks. Like, okay, whatever. But most of the time the hourly rate was like, you know, a few dollars here, a few dollars there. And I wasn't realizing, like, it was a lot of fun, but I needed money. I needed to make more money, and I didn't realize it yet. I was like, oh, it's going to take off. It's going to take off. It's going to take off. And after 6 months, 8 months, I was like, okay, it's not taking off. I mean, it's not taking off. And I'm putting in more hours now more than ever, and people just, for whatever reason, aren't appreciating everything. Well, it's not that they aren't appreciating it. I mean, it's just not generating as much views, revenue, and so on. So I needed to change. I was more efficient. I started to make this YouTube channel. This one is not a science one, it's a business one. And I love business. I know just as much about business as science. And so I was like, you know what? I can make a ton of these videos where people, you know, like hearing me talk about this stuff. You know, maybe I can pick up a passive income from that. Now, I was, you know, on my way to be a real estate agent when I was starting this channel. I think, I was a real estate consultant going on to my real estate license when I actually started this channel in like March of last year. So about a year and a half ago. And so I was like, you know what, this is going to be much easier. I can pop out a video in with I don't know, in 20 minutes and plus, 20 minutes of editing and 20 minutes of uploading and tagging and 20 minutes of thumbnails and blah, 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 blah. It'll be much more efficient with my time, and maybe I could produce the same amount of revenue. So I want you guys to think of that too. Whatever business you're doing right now, whatever you're doing online, whether it's Amazon FBA, whether it's stock market investing, whether it's YouTube, whether it's podcasting, social media influencing, Instagram, whatever it may be, I want you to seriously calculate the amount of hours you put in to the money you get out. And is it worth it? A lot of the times it's not. A lot of the times you have so much fun you don't realize, oh wait, I'm not making any money. And that's really, really important. So efficiency. Be efficient with your time, people. I wish I knew that. We're going to move on here to number 6. I guess this goes along the lines of actually number 4 here is urgency. I did not have an urgency to grow when I started compared to now. Now it's just all about growth, growth, growth. I mean, why am I pumping out 2 videos a day now? Why am I pumping out 2 videos a day? Why am I putting stuff up on my website? Why am I selling affiliate stuff more than ever? Why am I doing more consulting and event work more than ever? Why am I, trying to get my speaks? That's ironic that I messed up on the word speak. Speeches. Why am I starting to get into speeches and starting to talk at events and stuff like that? Why? It's because I have a sense of urgency. Urgency. I want to grow right now as fast as possible. And you guys got to have that too. You guys got to be urgent. You can't be like, oh wait, you know what makes you urgent? Is when you don't have anything to fall back on. When your parents stop supporting you. If your spouse loses their job, if you have to have a kid coming up. Some sort of power of broke method is usually what gives you a sense of urgency. That's usually what happens. And now, so eventually it's going to graduate from power of broke to, theoretically goals that you have. Once you hit your first goal, you're like, oh, wait a second. I should make more goals. I should probably hit that one. Oh, wait a second. I want this. I want that. I want freedom in my life. A lot of the times it comes down to freedom. Urgency and freedom are really tied in. I want to make money now. I want to build a business now so that I can have freedom 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. That's probably the biggest reason why I want to pursue wealth. Is because I want freedom. I don't want anyone to have any sort of control over my life. I want to do whatever the hell I want, whenever I want, however I want, and I don't want anyone to be able to tell me otherwise. That's how I want to live my life, and you guys got to have that too. That is one of the sole traits of entrepreneurs, is that pursuit of freedom. All right, so we're going to move on here to the last thing I want to talk about, and this is actually my most recent one. And I'm still making this mistake, is not hiring. So I guess I should say not delegating, I guess. To a lot of you out there, not delegating, because hiring usually in a lot of people's heads is like full-time work. You don't have to necessarily hire full-time work. I mean, for me, these days, if I need something done and I can't do it, I hire someone for the day. Hire someone for a project. Hire someone for just on a consulting contract basis, like a small contract basis. That's what I do. And so that's what I needed to learn. Like, I cannot handle everything anymore. You remember when I started this channel, I was responding to each and every email, each and every message, each and every tweet, each and every Instagram comment. And now here's the deal. You want to know, people complain, why don't I respond anymore? And so just some perspective is that we'll just go content. We'll go content-wise. So literally, whenever I make these videos, so I do some sort of prep, I come up with some sort of ideas to write, and so that takes time. I got to film, I got to set this all up, the studio, that takes time. I got to record, mic myself up, that takes time. I got to pop this into the computer, I got to edit it all myself, I got to cut it all up myself, I got to get the music and all the sometimes videos and pictures and then after that, after I make one of these videos, I got to do a stock market news video. So I got to do it all over again. Got to put stuff on that video, and that takes hours and hours and hours just to make this content. Now, I'm putting in a lot of effort into YouTube right now because I think it's my funnest form of income. In terms of everything that I do, YouTube is probably my favorite because it's a passive source of income, plus I get to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. I love that. And so why don't I respond anymore? It's because I just can't. I don't have enough hours in the day. Every single part of my business is run by me right now. And so I know I've been saying this for about a month and a half now. So I'm hiring. I have someone completely in line right now to handle all of my emails, to handle all of my messages, all of my tweets, and so on. And so they're essentially going to be my social media marketing manager, because I just cannot do it anymore. And you're going to reach that point too. It's funny because, you know, a lot of employees, they complain about when a company reaches like 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, or probably about 150 people, and it's happened relatively quickly, a lot of tech companies. I always say to them, like, odds are, if you are complaining about the 3 people or 2 people that founded the company or 1 person that founded the company, just know that they were not only doing your job at one point, they were doing everyone's job at one point. That is something that not a lot of people have perspective about. A founder of a company likely did your job when the company started, plus all the other jobs. They probably didn't do it as well as you, because you're probably specialized if you're an employee, but they probably did your job. I mean, think about it. When you just start out, and you're especially online business, you got to do, you know, all the design work yourself, all the artwork yourself. You got to do all the online, like if you're doing content, you got to make that all yourself. You got to do filmmaking, you got to do editing, you got to do, if you want to do animations, you got to do that stuff, right? You got to come up with your own ideas. You got to do all the marketing. You got to upload it yourself. You got to know how to do all the thumbnails and all the blah, blah, blah. Right? You got to market it. You got to sell stuff through it. You got to make your own products. You got to know, you have to do it all yourself is what I'm trying to say. You are every single department of a company in one when you start out. And then you reach the point like I reached where you're like, okay, there's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough hours in the day. I need to hire someone. And even if it cuts down your net profit by, I don't know, let's say it cuts it down to your first employee, probably 20 grand. Let's just say that you pay them 30 grand, they probably pump out about 40 grand in gross revenue. So about 10 grand net profit, or the reverse, sorry, probably even the reverse on your first year. If it doesn't help with growth of the company, you hire someone for 30 grand, you know, they only produce 20K in essentially direct revenue. And then you find other ways to grow the company from decisions that you make and other stuff that you're doing, and so on. And so, anyways, that was a really long, incoherent ramble in the past 30 seconds here. But what I'm trying to say, not hiring. Even if you're just starting out and you're only making 3 grand a month, okay? It might be worth even hiring someone $500 a month, handle your social media, handle your emails, handle your X amount of whatever, to tackle all that stuff. And so they can do it professionally, all that stuff, which is very important, and you can take care of all the big decisions. Okay? And so I think that's going to wrap this video up. So what do you guys think about this? I was going to be like, what are your mistakes? What are your mistakes that you've made in your investing world, business world, online business world? And do they line up with this? These were my big ones. So anyways, I think that's going to wrap this video up. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people, and I'll see you guys in the next video.